What's good, visionaries? How are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing amazing out there. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful Christmas and also are planning a beautiful new year. Happy New Year in advance. Happy 2023. Wishing you guys all your heart's wishes. Now I want to talk to you guys about something. I do want to say though, it's a great feeling right now what's going on in Liberia in regards to diaspora Liberians. This message is for us, for you guys. I'm just super, if you don't know, I'm pretty sure you know, I love Liberia. I'm obsessed with Liberia. It's home, and most of you guys are as well. You know, I talk to people every time. I see people transition into Liberia. I see people who've been away from Liberia for a long time, and everybody is feeling homesick. Everybody is planning their return. People want to go back. People just are interested in just going back home. What's happening in Liberia right now as far as people doing projects in Liberia is amazing. The rate at which people are building in Liberia, people are started a project, building their homes and things like that. It's amazing. We've all seen on the internet recently or in the past people who tried doing something in Liberia and got scammed, right? Now, I'm making this video just to say that most people have emailed or commented. People are sending me inbox, email, Instagram, everything saying, look, I really want to invest back home in Liberia. I want to build a home. I want to start a project, build a hospital. I want to build a factory. I want to start a business and all of that, but I'm just nervous. And most people in the diaspora thinks that this is just a Liberia problem. And I want to say this to really reassure Liberians all over the world that this is not a Liberia problem. If you talk to, the only difference is we're in the Liberian community, and also Liberians tend to express their frustration to the world a lot more than other countries. Example, country like Ghana and Nigeria and stuff like that. If you're not within their niche, in their midst or society, you wouldn't really know as much as what's wrong or what's going on. You see the country is progressing, you see things are moving forward, right? However, this is a endemic or pandemic all over Africa, where people don't trust their family members back home. People don't trust their friends back home to start a project for them. However, though, if you look at all of these other countries, you see they are way more developed than Liberia. And a lot of those are from people who are in the diaspora coming back, reinvesting and things like that. I'm saying this to say that don't let that discourage you. Other African countries probably even have it worse than us. People don't trust. I'm an avid YouTube watcher. I watch YouTube all the time. I do a lot of research and stuff like that. And I was a little bit surprised, not too surprised, but a little bit surprised to know that this is the same problem in countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania. Like all these countries have the same thing, where people, family members and friends back home are really just taking people for their money, scamming them, lying to them and things like that. However, these countries are still way more developed. Why? Because that did not discourage the people in the diaspora. They were still able to go back and reinvest. They were still able to go past that. They were still able to find alternative solutions. So I'm saying this to say that please don't let that discourage you. If you've probably been burned one time, maybe you've sent money before and stuff like that, don't let it discourage you. Liberia is home. Ultimately, the goal hopefully is when you get older to retire, or even your younger days to transition back home. America is a great country. Hopefully by that time, Liberia will have, the main concern that most people have is the medical system, especially when you're older, to make sure you have a good hospital, medicine and treatment and stuff like that for you, because when you get older, of course, you get more sicker, things like that. But hopefully that will get better. And that also can come from the private sector. We can't rely so much on government for everything, right? A private citizen, a group of people can go back home and get a nice little private facility where they have good doctors, good nurses, good missionaries, good everything, right? That will flourish because people will want that. Diaspora Liberian, people who are local Liberians who can afford it, everybody would jump on that, right? It doesn't have to be super affordable for all Liberians. Look, Mercedes-Benz is expensive for a reason. Well, because they're like Toyota, Honda, other brands over there, right? So you don't have to take your business to Liberia and and just be like a charity and make sure it's affordable for everybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be, right? You can do a private hospital, pharmacy, or facility, like a little community hospital that is really just for people who can't afford it. Because what would that, it's not a bad thing, because people who can, people who are looking to reinvest in Liberia, but the healthcare system is stopping them, will be able to go there. So that means that more people will come, and more people can provide more jobs for local people who can now afford maybe going to the hospital, or maybe other local hospital that it couldn't afford, right? So all in all, it's a win for everybody. So don't let that discourage you, Liberians. We all seen, you probably, if you're watching this video, most likely yourself or a close person to you is doing something back home, and it's happening at a rapid rate. I honestly get so nervous every day that passes with what I'm doing back home in Liberia. I just want to do more. That fear of being left behind is always there, right? And every time I go to Liberia, you see it. If you haven't gone to Liberia, you probably wouldn't, it wouldn't be an urge as much as if you've been to Liberia. You would really know that things are happening at a rapid rate. And if you're somebody who ultimately one day want to transition back home, it'll feel like you're being left behind. But again, don't let anything discourage you. And understand, if you've been burned before, we've been burned before, you've probably invested before. I had a guy who recently, who I was talking to, who he and his wife worked so hard, and I invested $115,000 back home for some project they're working on. But a family member, took them for their money, right? So he just gave up. He's like, he's not going to reinvest back in Liberia. Liberia is not even on his radar, which is understandable, right? However, those are roadblocks. When something great is going to happen to you, normally there are challenges, right, that comes with it. So those are just roadblocks and challenges that lets you know that, okay, great, you know what, I am going to succeed. So I'm just putting this video out there to all of you visionaries, diaspora Liberians, and everybody out there, that don't let these things discourage you. It can be discouraging, which is very understandable. However, though, just find alternative solutions, meaning maybe doing it yourself, doing research. If you watch my channel, I've laid out so many different ways that you can do these things whilst being a diaspora Liberian, right? Just follow those channels, because ultimately, I can tell you this for sure, wealth building also extends back home to Africa, right? Any African countries and Liberia, if you're Liberian. There's a great way to establish a legacy for yourself and your family back home. Look, if you have kids here, ultimately most of these children, when they grow up to a certain age and go back home to Liberia, because that different environment, that feel that most kids want to stay there, because it's just a different freedom, especially if you as a parent have established something in Liberia, right? You've established a business or a building, or when they leave here and go back home, they're like, wow, my parents are actually somebody. They actually own stuff. They actually have something going on. They may be interested in staying, they may be interested in taking over, or they may just love going back home to visit. So just establish a legacy back home in Liberia. I know it can be difficult. It's a lot of roadblocks. Now, one thing also I want to say is this, right? You know how the foreigners in Liberia are able to succeed? Because they're not from there, so they don't have like family members and people there that they're sending money to and stuff to get things done. They go ahead and get it done themselves, so they're able to succeed. So we as Liberians who are using family members and people who are burning us, that discouraging us, other people are still doing it. They're succeeding. They're grabbing a hold of the economy. They're grabbing a hold of the wealth that's being shared in Liberia, that's being distributed in Liberia. So what I'm saying is, let's cut this family route. We all know if you do something, look, if you have a family member who's been doing things for you, who you really trust, who can get it done, yes, for sure, that's fine. You go ahead and do that. But sometimes it's not even malicious. Sometimes your family member may be scammed also and things like that, or may not know what they're doing as much. It may not be malicious all the time. It may not be something where your family member is saying, you know what, I'm just going to steal this money, right? They may just mishandle it. However, when you're using a third party, if a third party mishandle your money, especially if you do a contract, they're still responsible. They can get sued and stuff like that. So there's so many advantages of using a third party to do your project in Liberia, especially a reputable company and also something that's documented, contracted, getting a lawyer in Liberia is affordable. You know, it's expensive when you're a local Liberian, but when you're a diaspora Liberian, getting a lawyer here in the United States, for example, you know, a couple sessions is gonna cost you $1,000. You can give a lawyer $300 in Liberia, and you can get a good lawyer who can run after your things for you. So if you're doing things in Liberia, you have a lawyer that you can call that can oversee certain aspect of legal issues, right, for you. But that's all I have to say, guys. So just keep going. Liberia is moving forward. Let's not dabble too much into politics. Well, we should, but not like rely on it for like, oh, how progression is happening in Liberia, right? The progress of Liberia it lies within the private citizen's hand. In any developed country, most of the time, a government is just there to facilitate and regulate and provide avenues. The actual work and the actual infrastructures and things are being done by private citizens. I'm not saying roads and stuff like that. Those are governmental duties, basic duties that we should expect and demand from our government. However, everything else that is lacking in day-to-day society in Liberia, it should be us. We should be the one coming up with solutions and providing those avenues and to our community, and also in return, you know, getting money, building wealth. So there it is, guys. It's a quick video, more of a studio video coming. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about this. Been thinking about it for a little bit. So more of the story is just don't stop, keep going, find alternative solutions, go there yourself, find means and method to get it done no matter what. Home is home. Let's not let things discourage us. Happy New Year to you guys. I'll see you in the next one.